Ever wonder what's inside one of the hottest investment funds out there? Well, today is your lucky day.
Yeah.
We're taking a deep dive
Right.
into the Invesco QQQ Trust.
Okay.
You know it as QQQ.
Yep.
It's your one-stop shop for a slice of all the biggest tech and growth companies in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
We're using Invesco's own annual financial statements straight from September 30th, 2024.
Wow.
So, we're dealing with the real deal here.
Yeah.
By the time we're done,
Right.
you'll be able to drop QQQ knowledge.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
Uh-huh.
Think dinner party bragging rights,
Yeah.
but for investing.
It's like getting a backstage pass to the Nasdaq-100 Index,
Oh,
but without the hassle of buying all 100 companies yourself.
exactly.
Yeah.
So for those of you who might be new to this whole thing,
Okay.
what exactly are we talking about when we say QQQ?
The QQQ is an exchange-traded fund,
Okay.
or ETF. Think of it as a basket of stocks that you can buy and sell,
Okay.
just like a single stock.
Mm-hmm.
And this particular basket
Okay.
aims to match the performance
Okay.
of the Nasdaq-100 Index, which is made up of,
Yep.
you guessed it,
Mhm.
the 100 largest non-financial companies on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange.
Okay, so we're talking about a who's who of the biggest players in the market.
Yeah.
But let's get specific.
Mm-hmm.
Who is leading the pack as of September 2024?
Well,
Yeah.
as of our snapshot in time,
Uh-huh.
Apple is sitting pretty at the top,
Mm-hmm.
with a whopping $26.6 billion invested through the QQQ.
Wow.
That's not just iPhones, folks.
Right.
It's Apple's entire ecosystem,
Oh.
from Macs to services.
Wow.
They're a force to be reckoned with,
Yeah.
and that's reflected in their top spot.
$26.6 billion.
Yeah.
Now, that's what I call market dominance.
Mm-hmm.
But Apple can't be the only one calling the shots. Right. Who else is vying for a top spot?
Microsoft comes in strong at number 2,
Oh. Okay.
with a cool $24 billion.
Wow.
No surprises there.
Yeah.
They've got their hands in everything from software to cloud computing,
Uh-huh.
and hot on their heels
Right.
is NVIDIA at $22.3 billion,
Wow.
powering the AI revolution as we speak.
So we're talking serious tech titans here.
Yeah.
But hold on.
Mm-hmm.
If these three companies are such a big chunk of the QQQ,
Yeah.
doesn't that mean the whole fund is basically riding on their success?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And yes,
Yeah.
the performance of these mega cap companies has a huge influence
Okay.
on the QQQ's overall returns.
Right.
Their wins are the QQQ's wins and their losses, where you get the picture. It's like having a star-studded team.
Okay.
You're banking on those big names to deliver.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've zoomed in on the big players.
Okay.
Let's zoom out a bit.
All right.
What's the overall landscape of where the QQQ is putting its money?
Get ready for some serious tech dominance.
Oh, wow.
When you break down the QQQ's holdings by sector,
Yeah.
it's like stepping into a tech convention.
All right. Lay it on me.
Okay.
What are the top sectors where the QQQ is placing its bets?
The top 3 are all about tech.
Okay.
Leading the charge is semiconductors and semiconductor equipment
Okay.
at a mind-blowing 23.84%.
Wow.
That's almost a quarter of the entire fund
Okay.
dedicated to those tiny chips
Mm-hmm.
that power, well, pretty much
Yeah.
everything these days.
23%. That's a serious commitment to chips.
Yeah.
Is this a sign that we're all just going to keep needing more and more computing power?
Oh, it definitely points to a future driven by
Yep.
data and computing power.
Mm-hmm.
Think AI, data centers, the Internet of Things.
Yeah.
The demand just keeps growing.
Yeah.
Investors are clearly betting big on this trend.
Right.
Then we've got software at 15.25%.
Okay.
And technology, hardware, storage, and peripherals at 9.20%.
Okay, so we've established the QQQ loves tech,
Yes.
but I have a feeling
Yeah.
there might be some surprises lurking in those holdings.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's not all silicon and algorithms.
Right.
While the QQQ is definitely tech-heavy,
Mm-hmm.
there are some companies that might surprise you.
Oh, really?
For example, did you know PepsiCo is a top 5 holding?
Wait, Pepsi as
Yeah.
in the soda?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have pictured that in a tech-focused fund.
Yeah.
What's the logic there?
It all comes down to how indexes are constructed
Okay.
and how companies are classified.
Right.
While you might not think of Pepsi as a tech innovator,
Uh-huh.
they're a massive consumer goods company
Mm-hmm.
with complex supply chains,
Yeah.
global distribution networks, and increasingly sophisticated marketing strategies.
Wow.
All that relies on technology.
Okay, I'm starting to see how the lines can blur a little.
Yeah.
What other seemingly out-of-place companies are hanging out in the QQQ?
Another one that might raise an eyebrow is Tesla, listed under automobiles.
Tesla?
Now, we all know Tesla's pushing the boundaries with electric vehicles and self-driving technology.
Right.
But despite their tech focus, they're still primarily classified as an automaker.
I see. So it's not always about the company's image,
Right.
but about how they officially fit into the market categories.
Exactly.
What other unexpected guests are we hosting in the QQQ?
One more that might surprise you
Yeah.
is Starbucks,
Starbucks.
categorized under hotels, restaurants, and leisure.
Oh, wow.
But hey, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Who doesn't need a caffeine fix
Right.
when they're traveling?
That's one I can definitely get behind. I'd be lost without my travel latte.
Yeah, me too.
So we've got our tech giants. We've got our unexpected players. And now it's report card time.
All right.
How has the QQQ actually performed over the past few years?
If we look at the past few years,
Yep.
the QQQ has delivered some pretty impressive returns.
Okay.
We're talking 37.21% in 2024
Wow.
and 34.98% in 2023.
Wow.
Of course, there are always bumps in the road.
Right.
And 2022 was one of those, with a significant drop of 24.86%.
Ouch, that's a big swing.
Yeah.
That's a good reminder that even with a basket of strong companies, the market can be unpredictable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that brings up a crucial point.
Okay.
Past performance is never a guarantee of future results.
Yeah.
It's just one data point to consider.
Right.
You've got to factor in your own risk tolerance, your investment goals, and the ever-changing market dynamics.
Wise words.
You got it.
Okay, let's talk practicality for a minute.
Okay.
We know ETFs have expenses.
Yeah.
What's the cost of owning the QQQ?
The QQQ has an expense ratio of 0.20% per year.
Okay.
Now, I know percentages can sound a little abstract.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So let's put that into real-world terms.
Yes, please.
Okay. Break it down for us non-finance folks.
Okay. Imagine you invest $10,000 in the QQQ.
Right.
With that 0.20% expense ratio, you're looking at just $20 in fees annually.
$20 a year?
Yeah.
That seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Especially compared to some of the fees I've heard about with other types of funds.
Right.
Is that considered low?
Yes. 0.20% is generally considered low.
Okay.
Particularly when you compare it to actively managed funds, where you have a portfolio manager handpicking stocks and charging you a premium for their expertise.
All right. So we've covered the good stuff, the performance, the relatively low fees.
Yeah.
But now it's time for the less glamorous side of investing taxes. What do our listeners need to know about the tax implications of owning QQQ?
Here's the key takeaway.
Okay.
The QQQ distributes both dividends and capital gains to the shareholders.
Okay. And what does that mean for someone's tax situation?
Well, I'm guessing it's not as simple as just ignoring those distributions.
You're right. It's not quite that simple.
Yeah.
Those distributions are taxable events.
Okay.
Meaning you'll need to factor them into your tax calculations.
Okay.
However, the specific way they're taxed, whether it's ordinary income or capital gains, can vary.
So this is where it gets a bit tricky, right?
Yeah.
I'm already sensing a headache coming on.
Taxes can definitely be complex, especially when it comes to investments.
Right.
It's always best to consult with a tax advisor for personalized guidance.
Okay.
They can help you navigate the nuances and make sure you're handling everything correctly.
Good advice.
It's true. Taxes are definitely something you want to get. But, hey, it's a good problem to have if your investments are doing well enough to generate those taxable distributions.
Right. That's one way to look at it. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. The big players, the unexpected holdings, the performance, the fees, even the dreaded tax talk. What do you think is the most important thing for our listeners to remember about the QQQ?
For me, the key takeaway is that the QQQ offers a way to tap into this diversified pool of some of the most innovative and high-growth companies in the U.S. market.
Especially in the tech sector.
But remember, it's not about blindly following the tech hype train.
Right. It's about understanding what's actually driving the market, the potential risks, and how those align with your personal investment goals.
Exactly. For example, knowing that semiconductors represent nearly a quarter of the fund might make you think twice if you're already heavily invested in chip companies elsewhere in your portfolio. or it might make you even more bullish on the QQQ if you believe those tiny chips hold the key to the future.
Right.
It's all about context and how it fits into your overall strategy.
So for those listeners who are hearing all this and thinking, okay, the QQQ sounds interesting, but is it right for me? What advice would you give them?
I'd say first and foremost, do your research. Don't just jump in just because it's a popular choice. Understand how the index is constructed, the risks involved, and whether it aligns with your own investment goals.
Okay, so knowledge is power. What else should they consider?
Think about your time horizon. Are you investing for the long term? The QQQ has historically shown strong growth potential, but like any investment, there will be ups and downs along the way. You need to be prepared to ride out those fluctuations.
Got it. Patience is key.
Yeah.
Any other words of wisdom?
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. No matter how much you believe in the QQQ, diversification is essential for any well-rounded portfolio.
Right.
The QQQ can be a fantastic core holding, but it shouldn't be your only one.
Solid advice. Okay, we've talked about the present, but now I want to get your crystal ball out. The market is constantly evolving, so what do you think the QQQ might look like in 5 or 10 years? What new industries or companies could emerge as major players?
Now you're talking. Trying to predict the future of the market is always a fun exercise, even if we can't know for sure.
Yep.
But if we look at emerging trends, artificial intelligence is definitely a force to be reckoned with. It's already having a huge impact, and that's only going to grow.
So we could see even more companies specializing in AI software, hardware, and applications taking center stage in the QQQ.
Absolutely. Think about the potential for personalized medicine, autonomous vehicles, even creative industries powered by AI. The possibilities are mind-blowing.
It's like we're on the cusp of a whole new world, and the QQQ is a front row seat to the action. What other trends do you see shaping the future of the QQQ?
Another area to watch is the evolution of the metaverse and Web3 technologies. It's still early days, but I think we're just scratching the surface of what's possible with virtual and augmented reality, blockchain, decentralized platforms, the whole 9 yards.
So we're talking about a potential shift from the physical world to the digital realm, and the QQQ could be a way to invest in that transition.
Exactly. Think gaming, social interaction, virtual real estate, even the way we work and learn. The metaverse could fundamentally change our lives, and the QQQ could be a vehicle for investors to be a part of that.
It's exciting to think about how these trends could reshape the QQQ's holdings and potentially create a whole new landscape of investment opportunities. But even with all this talk about the future, it's important to remember that investing always involves risk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There are no guarantees, and you should always do your due diligence before making any investment decisions. But that's what makes it so fascinating, right? We're not just investing in companies, we're investing in ideas, innovation, and the potential for growth and change.
Well said. It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about the stories behind those numbers and what they tell us about the world we live in.
I couldn't agree more. The QQQ is a window into the forces shaping the future, and it's up to each individual investor to decide whether they want to be a part of that journey.
It's amazing to think that a single investment fund can give us so much insight into the forces shaping the future.
Right.
Who knew financial statements could be so captivating?
Well, when those statements represent a snapshot of innovation and the potential for growth,
Yeah.
it's hard not to get excited.
Yeah. I feel like we've given our listeners a crash course in everything QQQ.
Yeah.
From the tech giants to those unexpected players like Pepsi and Starbucks.
Right.
And we've even touched on the wild world of future possibilities with AI and the metaverse.
Exactly. Hopefully you've gained a deeper understanding of the dynamic forces driving the market.
Yeah.
And how the QQQ reflects those trends.
Right.
Remember, it's not a static list of companies.
Yeah.
It's a constantly evolving picture of where investors see growth and opportunity.
Exactly. So before we wrap up this deep dive, let's distill it down to one key takeaway for our listeners. What's the most important thing you want them to remember as they navigate the world of investing?
To me, it all boils down to this. Knowledge is power. Don't just follow the crowd or make decisions based on headlines. Do your research, understand the underlying trends, and make informed choices that align with your personal goals and risk tolerance.
Couldn't have said it better myself. The QQQ might be a powerful tool, but it's up to each individual investor to wield that tool wisely.
Absolutely. And remember, investing is a journey, not a destination. There will be ups and downs along the way.
Yeah.
But with careful planning and a long-term perspective, you can navigate those fluctuations and potentially achieve your financial goals.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the Invesco QQQ Trust.
Yeah.
But we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the future of the QQQ? What emerging industries or companies are you keeping an eye on?
Yeah.
Head over to our social media channels and let's keep the conversation going.
Until next time, happy investing.